Rob, good to be back.
Hey, Jim, good morning.
Sometimes when we talk about international moving, we talk about very specific things, which is great. Talk about packing, logistics, different countries, the process. But we've never really talked about actual individuals who made the journey. Um, I thought maybe you could tell us a few stories of people, how they contacted or when SDC International Shipping, where they were going, the process from start to finish. I'm sure you must have an interesting story or two that you could relay over.
Yeah, maybe we kind of talk a little bit. Maybe I kind of go into some many examples of some of our many success stories,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe some examples of some challenges and some more difficult situations and why. What caused this or what created or in the latter caused that. The
Yeah, that's a
good, the bad,
great.
the ugly. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So let's talk about the good stuff. The vast majority of my or our moves, let's just say, let's assume door to door and let's assume ocean to start, because
Hmm.
that's dominantly what we do. Um, when the job goes very well, there's number one, good communication, both sides. So we're communicating very well, client, our relocation specialists, and when we engage with our logistics and support team, that communication triangle is just fantastic. Um, some of the things that are necessary is for us to really understand the moves and needs. When I say needs, of course, volume is the big one. How much space is being occupied on the ship? Is this a shared container, groupage or LCL, less than container lid? Is this an exclusive container? Is it a 20? Is it a 40? Is it a 40 high cube? Is it multiple container? What all is going? Are there any special consideration items, household goods and personal effects, like, for example, um, some clients have vintage pinball machines. I just moved like an original 1976 or 77 Kiss pinball machine.
Oh,
And
cool. Yeah.
I need to know these things so that we can prepare and make sure it's taken care of the right way. There's no issues. High value art, really large mirrors, statues, pianos, whether it be an upright or a mini grand, a baby grand, or a full grand, um, things like that. Motorcycles, vehicles. I've moved boats before, tractors, so those kind of things. So to really under the communication is so key, so that we understand. So that is part of the good. As long as once we get that done, then we're able to other little things in the communication process, access. Is this a 12th story Manhattan walk up with no parking anywhere nearby? Need to know that. And, of course, we have their address and we can see what's going on. Yes. But to understand every aspect of the move, or as many as possible, really makes for a great deliverable in terms of, at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Um, some things that can be challenging. The opposite of that,
Hmm.
poor communication, right? So maybe the client didn't tell us or show us or list the 1976 Kiss original pinball machine or the billiard table or the framed art that is oversized and worth $50,000 or more. Um, Statues, huge statues, things like that. So if we don't know about those, um, obviously it is what it is. It's going to have to be moved, and it creates a challenge. I've run into situations a few times, not very often, where maybe a client won't show me or tell me everything,
Hmm.
intentionally or otherwise. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, you know, showed one time. Recently, a client said, "Listen, I've got X number of boxes in the garage, and I have X number of boxes, medium-sized moving boxes in the kitchen." They had packed their own goods. That's not normal, but it does happen all the time. They've packed all their boxes. So I've got X number here, X number there. So I go, okay. I add those two up and it comes to whatever it comes to. And I add maybe 5% because there's always a little something that we don't know about. And when the team shows up, there are 3 or 4 times that amount.
Oh boy.
So, okay, well, again, this communication thing, I don't know. I didn't know about the actual move, and that can create problems. A situation like that necessarily wouldn't isn't always a major problem because if it's a full container and there was room for the additional boxes, really no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Um, usually. But if it's not, let's say the additional items that we didn't know about were not disclosed, don't fit in the container, or it's LCL or shared container or groupage, um, got a challenge here. I always say there are no such thing as problems. There's only opportunities, but that's not true. That really becomes a challenge. So those are two, I would say, the very good moves. It all comes down to communication. And of course, we're going to provide the best possible price based on the actual needs of the client.
Hmm.
And and then the challenges are when the communication breaks down for whatever reason.
Has there ever, I mean, I'm thinking of air freight being a quick way of transporting goods overseas. But
Yep.
do most people just do, does the average person do sea freight and that's it?
Well, if you want to look at percent of portion of business, portion of our business,
Yeah.
yes, 90% ocean,
Yeah.
10% air. Um, Not because we specialize in one. We move people from door to door, typically on the residential goods, household goods, and personal effects. And the most economical way is particularly for a full household, but caveat for most countries, sometimes that's not true, is
Mm,
going to be ocean. There are some places that have terminal handling charges, destination terminal handling charges that are so high for ocean that
mm,
we start to say, you know what? It'll be the same price. Let's ship it
air.
air. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes. But yeah,
And South America, right? Isn't that one of the places where it's
that's
just super high?
that's the one I'm thinking about. I mean, not every single country in South America, but there are some challenges there. That can really jump in, and I'm not sure that every company, certainly not the brokers, are going to disclose that
Yeah.
because they can get it to the country, door to door for some X price, maybe.
Is there an
And there's going to
average
be challenges.
time, like if somebody's moving, let's say to the UK, let's say they're leaving from the West Coast. Is there an average time between the time you pick up everything to the time it's actually in their house? What does that take? Like, is there an average time for
Ocean,
that? Yeah, by
ocean.
ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it depends from where.
From let's say
So
Los Angeles.
yeah, like so the west coast of the United States, Seattle, Portland, San
Yeah.
Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, to let's just say London or somewhere near there. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily say Scotland or Wales. Um, yeah, we're gonna give a window
Right.
because not every ocean vessel is the same, and we're going to try to marry transit time of booking and transit time with price. But I probably would estimate, 8 to 14 weeks, more
Yeah.
likely. And it depends if it's LCL or groupage or if it's
Yeah.
direct. If it's direct, it's shorter time frame.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say 8 to 14 weeks, which is a huge window. I understand that. But if I'm doing it for myself, I'm going to anticipate 10 weeks, something like that. Could it
Yeah.
be 12? Sure. If it's groupage, maybe add a little bit. Groupage or shared container,
Yeah.
maybe add a little bit. And it's going to be a lot shorter for if they're going from New York or Boston or Miami or, if I'm Atlanta, I'm going to ship it out
Yeah.
of
It's a
maybe
straight line, a straight shot over.
the straight line. They're not going to stop in, anywhere. They're not going to stop in Sydney, Australia on the way over. They're going to go. It's
Yeah.
going to Southampton or they're going to London. So yeah, that would be
Yeah.
more like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. We're
Yeah.
still going to give a big window because things happen, and we don't want to overpromise, underdeliver.
Now,
Um,
I remember you mentioning things before, like, well, the ship has to have a full load, right? Going to that place.
yeah,
If you're using groupage, then you have to wait until, your container is filled with the other people that are going to the same place.
yep.
Yeah, I understand there's a lot of factors. In a way, it's kind of like a person, maybe this is a bad illustration, but flying on standby. You have to wait till your seat is open for you, but if you want to go right away, then you pay and you don't fly standby. But
Well, you're dating yourself talking about standby. I remember I used to do that. Like I'm going to leave a day early. Nowadays you can't. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of like that. I mean, look, the ocean vessels, the ships, the steamships, um, they have a closing date and a sail date.
right.
And so I mean that's set in stone. They're gonna do it. They're not gonna, wait. Kind of like an airline. They're not gonna, hey, we're only 50% full here. We can't fly. No, I think sometimes airlines actually do that. They go, hey, the
Yeah, yeah, good
sensor
point.
valve is malfunctioning. We're going to have to get a new flight. They want to, but no, the boat's going to go no matter what.
Yeah, I
But the big
see.
one is, when can we get a booking on the ocean liner? And we're marrying the price with the availability and making sure it's right for the client. And then how long is the transit time to that particular client's port of entry into the new
Yeah.
country? So a few things that go on with logistics in that regard.
I was just curious, just to uh, before we wrap things up, have you ever talked to people who moved from the United States to somewhere else and they told you what they missed most about the United States? Have you ever had anything like that or not really?
Can't say that I have. I can't say that I've had that specific conversation, but you and I can imagine. I mean, I'm sure you've traveled overseas and I've traveled overseas and just lots of lovely things everywhere I've gone. But the one thing that always strikes me when I come back is it's pretty organized here. It's pretty organized. When you're driving around, you pretty much know what the rules are.
Yeah,
The
good
thing
point.
that always struck me overseas, even in, nice European countries, very developed, is the rules are kind of fuzzy. It's sort the rules of the road are don't hit anyone else. That's just it. Everyone's got that. Hey, don't hit anybody. Whereas here, you're used to this is a four-way stop. There is no turn on red. That kind of thing. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just the rules here are a little more organized, I guess.
yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's not.
I think we get more television stations here or streaming stations. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that's
Well,
the
yeah, the big the big one that been moving people overseas, particularly in Europe, is well, I'm not going to bring this sofa because it won't fit. You know, I'm not bringing the California king bed because bedrooms aren't that big, unless they've got something special.
right.
Um, but yeah, there's always that. Um, the electricity, we know that's a difference, different voltage, different frequency.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
too.
Interesting. Yeah, living spaces are a little smaller there. It's
A lot
interesting.
smaller, a lot smaller. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty small. And then we do a good deal of imports as well. People coming back from overseas for whatever reason, often it's work, things like that. But we do a lot of that as well.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite country outside the US having based on your own experience?
Boy, I really like. I mean, a lot of people don't. I do. I really enjoy France.
Yeah.
I think France is pretty cool. The UK is very nice because it's got the history, it's got everything, it's got all the European charm. But they speak English, well, yeah, sort of. Um, so England's nice. I like Ireland's beautiful. I love
Yeah.
Ireland. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
Rob, as always, good information. We'll put your number on the screen if somebody wants to connect you directly. And I hardly ever say this. If you're watching this video and you enjoy it, absolutely subscribe, like the video, tell your friends about it, and the more the merrier. We'll be here
absolutely.
talking
And as
about
I
the
say,
international moving process.
yeah, the international moving, it's, like we always say, there's a lot of things that go on for our clients when they're moving overseas. It's a process, and there's a lot going on, more than just making sure the furniture gets there in one piece.
Yeah,
Um, so that's one thing that we understand, and we want to make sure that we take that piece, take care of it. Work on all the other parts of this move, so that we've got this, and I think that's really important. And anyone that wants to reach out to us, of course, we've got relocation specialists that are very experienced. You can also feel free to reach out to me directly if they want. Call me, email me. My extension is 116. Happy to talk and go over what you need.
great, great. Rob, have a great rest of your day. I'll catch up with you again soon.
Sounds like a plan, Jim.
Oh, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, yes, and happy holidays, yes.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye for now.
All right, bye-bye.